But when we talk about journeying and about the journey in our life, we might want to go back and look at this Jesus character, bereft of the religious dress that we put upon Jesus. We sometimes forget, we need to remember that Jesus really said some horrible things about people who are religious. I spoke about that last week, but just to remind you, he didn't have a lot in common with the religious people of his day. And it was the religious people of his day, according to the Gospels, that got with the Romans that decided to dispose of him because he was a threat to them. And so they did. Jesus talked about that he was the way, the truth, and the life. Now, we sometimes dress that up in a lot of religious phrases and clothing, so that if we just believe in Jesus, then we get all those three, combined for free. But if you begin to look at the terms, point to a reality. That words in and of themselves are not the reality. That old saw, if you stop at the sign that says airport, you never get to take a plane. We are people who need to recover what in the world the reality of those terms are pointing to. The way, the truth, and the life. That the journey of human beings, when they touch base with those three words and the realities of them, have the possibility of living life and having life abundantly. Seeing what those words point to is the religious task and the theological task, and the Christian task, and the human task of our time. There's an old African saying. I have some friends who are trying to fly to Africa now, and they are having a little trouble. But anyway, we were talking about that the other day, and they remembered this old phrase that said that you had to stop on your journey. You got to go too fast to let your soul catch up with you. That there's a depth of life that when you just get so busy, sometimes you lose touch with that depth of existence that you are. When we were working with Aboriginals in Australia years ago, there was a song that was adapted from some of their songs, and we kind of roughly translated the words. And it went, journey on, all of mankind. Future is waiting for you. There was a deep sense in the people who were ancient people, and had been with them all their life, all their days. That journeying was to journey to meet the future. To journey with their whole life, their whole sense of what it meant to be a human being, to march into the future. Our journey is for the material and the spiritual and the deeps of our life all come together to where we have consciousness of who we are and what life is about, where we're going, what our decisions amount to. Remember the story of Paul? He met this word. As we talked about last week, he was a very accomplished religious man. And he got so good at his religion that he took out orders to purify it, and he was persecuting people. And then, bam, he was sort of knocked on his can, and his life turned around 180 degrees. And he was new, whole different human being. We know that he was a tent maker, and I imagine he worked long hours making tents. But out of this, he was so excited that he decided that his life would be given to making sure other people knew about what it meant to be a human being, to join this death journey with the life that you have all around you, and to have something that was new and phenomenal. Some of us read Joseph Campbell, and you remember his advice was to follow your bliss, to spot that which illuminated your life, which gave you creativity, which allowed you to live beyond your fondest dreams, to be alive all your days. And you know, we look around and we see that. We see folks who were kind of num-nums. Y'all know that term, num-num? Did y'all use that to describe people in your class? Who are, you know, just kind of not there. And something happened to them. And they're living life large. And a couple of things happen on this journey. That as we journey and we come in contact with our deeper selves, and we relate that, not to go away somewhere, but we relate that to our existence, something transformative takes place. Our life takes off. Sometimes we're unrecognizable to those who knew us long ago. In some ways, we've become a different human being altogether. And our life is aglow. Life is giving. But one of the things that happens in that process is that you know that while you're alone in this journey, there's nobody else that can take responsibility for it. You know, you can't blame it on your mama and papa, or on where you lived, or what school you went to, etc. Your journey is your journey. And to understand that is very important. But when you grasp this journey, you know that you are part of this universe. That whatever you do, however you think, however you do, affects the last star.